Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. Today I have the one, the only, Francis Lincoln, Mr. Orange, Frank Clark. What's up, Frankie?
What up, Jen?
I freaking missed you.
We don in the orange shades. Start
We are
the day
oranging it up. I even have I just want to share, May is orangey.
Yes, it is.
So I'm feeling
the month
that.
of the crush.
Absolutely. Seriously, I really believe that. And I wanted to introduce Frank to everybody. I met Frank at my first date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. And I swear I wanted to be your friend. Okay. And I'm so glad that manifested because I was, you're at Date with Destiny. We're going over spiral dynamics, and which I've studied and I love. And Frank is the Mr. Orange. So he represents the color orange, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have anything else to add, is very business oriented. It's higher up on the spiral dynamics model. And, I'm thinking to myself, maybe because when I studied it, I kind of figured out that I was purple under stress and then green. So I'm standing there like world peace, animals, love. And then Frank's like, I'll never forget what you said, that had me dying laughing. You're like, yeah, we're going to cut down the trees, but we're going to make Bibles out of them. And like just your energy, your fun, and your success just inspired me. And I'm like, I want to be orange. So, and then since then, I just love you. You're fun. If Oprah's watching or Deepak Chopra, I just want to give you guys a shout out. I can't believe I have Frank on my show. Michelle Soro.
Oh, they're all there. Yep. Tony
yeah.
Robbins. Everybody's watching right now.
Absolutely.
Everybody's watching.
So Frank, I met also in the Facebook Live challenge where he always brought fun, insight, and we were both top contributors in that group. So that's basically how I know Frank. And I want to know more about you though, Frank. So I'd love to start by asking you about your impact and your business coaching and your successful business, Lewis and Clark.
Cool. Well, Jen, first, thanks for letting me be on your show. It's a great format that you have and a great mission, as if you will, how things evolve over time, and, your mission of introducing and basically reminding people the power of gratitude and to fight through resilience and to be strong is a great, great message, and when you talked about the whole orange energy, the whole Mr. Orange obviously came out of just a process, and it just came out of an exercise that was done where we were all taught the 8 levels of consciousness through the spiral dynamics, which is a science that was studied in the 70s by Claire Beck. And as you ascend through these levels of consciousness, you become more outward focused. That's basically the gist of it. And each level has a color and a number associated to it, but they all have some different unique characteristics, personality characteristics. And at some point in our lives, we've all experienced some of these different levels of consciousness, these different levels of state, these different levels of needs. And some of us stay there in that particular level, but we all kind of experience some of the other levels as well. And you mentioned, you're purple, and purple are very tribal for the most part. They're very
but under stress. It's 11/11, by the way.
Oh, it's 11/11. Okay, let's manifest greatness right now, okay? But the whole theory on 11/11, for those of you that aren't into numerology and those that are, is that whatever you're thinking of at 11/11, while you're looking at it, you will manifest into your life. So right now, considering it's 11/11, why don't we just manifest greatness? Why don't we manifest gratitude? Why don't we manifest great health, okay, abundance in all things, staying safe from this virus, and that we all get back to work and everybody gets back to a state of happiness, and that we've learned from the situation. Oh, it's 11/12. Okay, so anything
I just thought the same thing.
So if you stay in the 11/11 space, okay, again, the theory is that you'll manifest this. Well, I'm not a big numerology guy, but I'll give you a little tip. I said, what the hell? Why not have everything used to your advantage when you can? So on my phone at 11:10 a.m. and 11:10 p.m., I have a reminder set that says manifest greatness. So it forces me to stop what I'm doing, wait till the clock turns to 11:11, and then just go this whole rant in my mind about rockin' body and lots of abundance and great sex and all the things
You're the best.
that we want, right? So
That's amazing.
I go through this deal for an 11.
I forgot to tell everybody. So me and Frank also are in a mastermind together with Lorelai Mariano, and I had a dream when Frank first joined the mastermind, because I had been in a while. I had this dream that Frank was a rock star, and it almost was like at Tony's birthday party, right? And Frank was on stage and he was rocking out, and I had brought my whole family, and we're sitting like third row, and you were literally a rock star, and I was like, that's Frank. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
I'm a legend in my own mind. I'm a legend in my own mind. Look
Let's go.
if I could sing, it'd be a different story. But I'm a horrible singer.
Really?
I don't play the guitar. Yeah, I really
You can't
am.
sing. You can't dance. What can you do?
I can speak well.
Absolutely.
Can make you laugh. Okay,
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, no, I didn't. I never played. I always wanted to play the guitar. Little secret story. If you listen to my podcast, the second one I did, it's called Aerosmith and Used Equipment, because I make a living in selling used equipment. However, when I spoke to the business class at University of New Hampshire, my daughter went to school there, and she asked me to speak to her class about business. So I said, okay, I'll go there. And my first talk was about, what do you really want to do? Now, half the class is, stoned or drunk or hungover, and they're laying down on their desks, basically half paying attention. And then so I'm like, okay, who in this room, is jonesing of all the things you're thinking about, man? You just can't sleep at night because all you want to do is sell used capital equipment. Huh? How many people want it? No fucking way. Nobody wants to do any of that shit, right? What they wanted to do is the same thing I wanted to do, except when I was 18 and 19 years old, Aerosmith was and still is the band of my lifetime. And these guys, if I could have had Steven Tyler, or actually Joe Perry, because he kept leaving the band and coming back. If I could have had Joe Perry's job playing lead guitar and singing for Aerosmith, that would have been my ideal deal, right? That's what I wanted. And why? Because they represented sex, drugs, rock and roll, freedom, money, all the shit that any 18, 19-year-old person wants. Actually, anything that people as they get older want, right? We want success. We want all of that. We want the degree to win. We want to feel significant. And so I was telling these students, I'm like, look, I got those feelings of winning and that feeling of success and that feeling of freedom and financial, independence and all of these things. I got them by being a used equipment dealer. I didn't know that was going to be the vehicle that took me to where I wanted to be. So don't focus necessarily on, I have to have a business degree. I need to be an engineer. I need to go, whatever it is, go after the dream of how you want to feel. How do I want to feel when all this is done? What's really the outcome I want? Because there are a lot of roads that'll get you there. If you limit yourself to saying, I can only be a used equipment guy, I can only be a business guy, I can only be, whatever, I can only work at Starbucks, or I can only do A, B, or C, D.
Don't put yourself in that box.
Don't put yourself in a box. If you're going to put yourself in a box, put yourself in a box of achievement. And so this is, I'm coming around to the whole orange thing again, because in the levels of spiral dynamics, a level 5 orange is the first level that becomes more what's called ergocentric. And an ergocentric person means we care more about other people's needs than our own. And at the orange level, we understand, we're all about business, and we're all about being driven, and we're all about success, and we're all about status, and we're all about a little, about significance, our nice cars and our nice houses, and, hey, nice watches and all that shit, right? They go with that. But we're also understanding that in order for us to grow, we need to help other people grow. Mm-hmm. And so, I live, eat, sleep, dream, level 5 orange. And, for the green people out there that are all about social programs and let's get free education and free healthcare.
I remember our first conversation was about kombucha.
And all the kombucha, To those people, I say, listen, thank you for sponsoring our medical marijuana facilities. Funny. I love the fact that you're a great customer, and stop smoking the product and get back to work. That's
hilarious.
Anyhow, yeah. So
it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
you're welcome.
I definitely look up to you. So it's goals.
In reference to the Lewis and Clark, I think you mentioned that.
Yes.
I'll give you a little brief story on that. I consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I've been starting businesses or working on my own for a long time, since I was a little kid. And I started my first real legit company, if you will, I guess at 26. That's when I made my first million. And it was all in space of buying and selling used capital equipment. So
cool.
Again, not real fancy, but yeah, it's a company I still own today. It's called Lewis and Clark. And I've had iterations of my business. I started other companies that were synergistic in the auction space or the software space or the service space or spare parts space or whatever it was. My history in corporate growth is basically find something that you know, find something that you're really good at, and don't deviate too far from what you're really good at. If you're really good at something, it's okay to have another business that's synergistic, something similar, right? And so that's what I kept doing, is always staying within my wheelhouse and trying to be the best at it. And we service a multinational platform where you have customers all over the world. It's been really, really fun. I've got to travel a lot of cool places. I've met an amazing amount of people. But the byproduct of all that too is I got to start doing personal development seminars. And that's where the coaching piece came in for me, because I always knew that I liked talking to people. I always knew that I enjoyed watching somebody else, strive or thrive or have a better quality of life because of something I taught them. And so when I learned, goes back 27 years ago, when I met Tony and started doing Tony Robbins events in Fiji, and I met him, it was like 150 people. It's a really small crowd. And here's this big behemoth dude, right? Kind of the same age as me. And, and he's talking about all these great ways to live. So I listened to all that stuff and incorporated that with my corporate culture. And also, when you own a company and you've had hundreds or thousands of employees, you are not just the owner of a company. You become the marriage counselor, you become the therapist, you become the boyfriend, you become the girlfriend, you become the best friend. You become all of these things at some point to somebody in your company, because they're going to want to talk to you, right? You're the leader and they want your advice. So getting good at understanding and listening, really listening to people and understanding what their needs are, helped me become a coach. I didn't call myself a coach. I'm a CEO, right? It kind of goes with the job. However, I really liked it. And so in 2017, when I got to be Mr. Orange, and then 2018, when I got to do it again, and I had all these thousands of people saying, hey, will you coach me? I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I better do this and monetize it and make a little business out of it. And that's how the whole Mr. Orange coaching grew, out of just listening. When people say, look, you're good at something, go do it. Don't shug a blind eye, or don't ignore it. It's the universe giving you an opportunity, right?
It's beautiful.
And and a lot of people that want to start businesses, probably the number one question I get when I'm coaching people is, I don't know what to do. I know I want to start something, but I don't know what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And the answer to that is, yes, you do. You fucking know what you want to do. You know what you want to do. You do. It's
love you.
And people have been telling you for years, look, you're awesome. You're awesome at fantasy football. You're awesome at barbecuing. You're awesome at raising kids. You're awesome at grooming dogs. You're awesome at, interior decorating. You're awesome at wearing orange sunglasses and picking fine, fashionable couture, right? And really sharp dresser. Whatever it is.
Absolutely.
People are telling you. And you know what? If they're telling you that, they'd probably pay you for that information too. They probably would. So, there's lots of ways to start a company, but pay attention to what you're good at. Sure.
Can I ask you a question about Lewis and Clark? So how did you get into that space, and what inspired you to become a tyrant in that space? Is that the right word? Just a
titan?
Yeah, titan. Tyrant.
Not a tyrant, I hope. Well, the way I got into used equipment was I sold equipment new. And probably one of my only jobs, if you will, because a lot of things when I was little, I had a job, but I always kind of felt like I was in control of my own destiny, making my own money. Mm-hmm. And so when I was in my early 20s, I took a job with a company in Boston that manufactures automated test equipment. And the stuff was really expensive, and it would take a long time to sell it. We'd work on these deals for 9 months. And at the very end, the customer would go, well, it's great. I'm glad you taught me all about this stuff, but I found a used one and it's half the money. And I'm like, you go, you taught me that I should have this machine. And I'm like, shit, but, so they buy a used one. So I decided, at that point, there was a woman that worked with me. Her name was Beth Lewis. And Beth was a sales trainee at the same company I worked at, and I had to train her. So, I'm the youngest salesperson in the company, probably in the history of the company. And this is a very old 75-year-old company. And so they let me and this other woman who's younger than me even go out on sales calls. And her last name's Lewis and my last name's Clark. So they were like, oh, there goes Lewis and Clark, right?
That's amazing.
And so we decided, why not make Lewis and Clark a reality and sell used equipment? And so they didn't think it was too funny after we started competing with them. But that's what happened.
Wow, that's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've always been so curious about that experience. That's amazing.
Well, I think when you're younger, you're probably more risk adverse because you don't know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm 26 years old. Yeah, I was married. I had 4 kids. She was married. We didn't have a lot of money. I think we had $800 between us, and we, signed our names on some credit cards so we could buy an Apple laser printer.
Ooh.
The thing was like this big, $4,000 for a laser printer.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
But that's how it started. You would just basically jump on the bandwagon and get going.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks.
So I want to also talk. I know you're super busy, and I appreciate your time here. I saw you a lot more before you started with this podcast, but I want to hear everything. Tell me what inspired it, how you got started, how it's been for you.
On the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a podcast called Orange Crushing It. It's on iTunes and Spotify. And the gist for getting involved in this really was, the progression to get there. First, you hang the shingle up and say, okay, I'm a coach. I got a message I want to get out there. I want to run a mastermind. I want people to be inspired by the things that I talk about. And I want to just give them tons and tons of content on how to improve their life, right? And that was the primary reason I started getting involved in coaching at all, because I knew I could help people have a better quality of life. The monetization piece just comes as long as you believe in your own skills, right? But that's not the primary driver for me. The primary driver for me was, how can I make the world a better place? How can I teach, influence, and lead so that the world will be a better place to live in? And give back, because I've been very blessed. I've had a great life, and I've had some major ups and downs. I've seen everything from great financial success to almost poverty and broke and bankruptcy. I've had legal issues that lasted several years. I've had, great friends of mine, very people close to me, become drug addicts and have to go through rehab. And I've experienced, cancer within my families, and just, anything from the greatest highs into the greatest lows. Divorce, that always sucks. And, I've collected a few of those as well over the years. But at the end of the day, what inspires me is a couple of things, but because I'm Mr. Orange, right, that orange drive, I have a lot of drive for making businesses. I enjoy the process of sitting down and going, okay, how can we make some money out of doing this? How can we make a business out of this? How can we, turn something into something? Like create a vision and then manifest, put the materials or put the things behind it that then make a reality of it, right? See Absolutely. Your vision and then, okay, what do I have to do? Yeah, what's the 1-2 degree millimeter shifts I have to do every single day to make this thing happen? And I love that process. And so when people come to me with a business idea, or when I have an idea, I just love sitting down and then just seeing it to reality, right? Seeing the fruition. The journey of it. Yeah, the whole journey of it's just amazing and fun. So that's partly what inspires me. The other thing that inspires me too is freedom. I one of my biggest values to me is my ability to be free. And I'm not saying free like, I just want to be so independent and cocky and selfish and all that. There's an element of narcissism that's just that level of free. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the freedom to make choices and the freedom to have the lifestyle that I want, where I control my own hours. There's a plaque I saw one time about entrepreneurs, and it says, an entrepreneur will work 100 hours a week for the sheer pleasure of never working 40 for somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's true. If you enjoy the journey, if you enjoy the whole entrepreneurism spirit, and you're willing to put in the hours and ride the miles and put in the work, but at the end of the game, there's some results from it. Okay, like if during this pandemic, if you're going to stay home like I did and eat a lot of ice cream and not not exercise as much, okay, well there's going to be a fallout from that too.
You look good though. Yeah, I was talking to Lorelai actually. She's like, we're all eating ice cream. We're doing this medical medium cleanse now, and it's been nice. But I mean, I wasn't too bad, but I feel like I would have been if I wasn't doing like keto and trying to, whatever. But
well, you look great. So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Because,
thank you, my love. Yeah. Appreciate it. What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you if you had a superpower, which you do, but if you had like a fun superpower, what would that one be?
Oh, man. If I had a superpower, my superpower would be able to read women's minds because
oh my God.
that would have avoided a lot of shit in my life.
Really?
Oh, my God. This,
Aww.
if you knew, look, how many times have I heard this?
Literally.
I'm going to speak for all the guys out there right now. How many times, guys, if you had $1 for every time you heard, if you loved me, you would know how I'm feeling.
Oh,
if you really understood me, you would know what's going on, right? So if I could read your mind, I would know, right? I would know what's going on. I would know, like Sandy's throwing up here, ice cream. Yes, I would know when you want ice cream. I would know how you feel.
It's so true. I don't want to put anyone on blast, but I have a lot of friends that call me and talk to me about their guy stuff. And, yesterday I was having an in-depth conversation with one of my girlfriends and after, I'm listening and I'm like, did you ever say that to him? Did you ever tell him that? And she's like, no. And I'm like, how would he possibly know?
I rest my case. Okay.
And I'm not perfect. I know I'm a female and trust me, sometimes I'm like, damn it, because we can't help it sometimes. But I think it's important. That's a very important point.
Can I get an orange from any guy who's watching your broadcast, or any woman? I don't care. Guy or women who are watching your broadcast right now, this broadcast, and understand exactly if guys could read women's minds, the world would just be so much easier. I would go, oh, I was supposed to do that today? Okay, see, I read your mind. Oh, you'd like it if I cuddled while we're watching them?
Who doesn't like a cuddle?
I would love that. Okay, let's do that. Okay. I didn't know you wanted me to pick up this at the store. I didn't know.
Yeah. I spoke about that in another mastermind too, about like the woman was telling her husband, like, when I'm feeling like crappy, I kind of like flowers. And like, so the husband would then get her the flowers, like when she was in a certain mood or something. And it like did wonders for their relationship.
What's your superpower, Jen? What would you do?
Right now, I always say fly because I used to have a lot of dreams of flying when I was younger and it was so fun. Plus, I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with that because that's like
flying.
Yeah, but
that might be a Leo thing, because I'm a Leo also. You're a Leo, and yes. I can fly in my dreams also.
Oh, cool!
And I love flying in my dreams.
It's so fun.
It's free. It's a freedom thing, right?
Yeah, and but every time I hear somebody else's power, I'm like, that's cool. I wish, like, I really like the one about if I could speak any person's language, like at any time. Like traveling and stuff, like if I could just jump into the conversation, which you can, because body language is a great tool for that. But to just be able to speak the language in depth, that would be really dope.
That would be very cool. One of my good friends, his superpower, honestly, he's a really good friend of mine. I do a YouTube channel with him. His name's Jason. His superpower, he wants the longest tongue on the planet so that he could actually steal food off of somebody's plate. It's like sitting in a restaurant 8 tables away.
I have a really long tongue. I'm not going to show it. It's inappropriate. But flying Leo savior character. Shoo, come on, Frank. We're out.
Got the flying lion behind you, right?
So speaking of food, and I know you're Mr. Orange, I want to hear what's your favorite recipe and or food.
Well, I grew up a very picky eater. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Very picky eater. The salad thing never really jived with me. A lot of the vegetable thing never really hit home with me when I was a kid. Now, as I got older, I'm starting to eat more and more and more of that. However, comfort food is probably everybody's favorite food.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more comforting to me than just a great Italian meal.
Yeah.
a huge ass plate of lasagna, or big ziti or manicotti, or any raviolis. You mix them with some lobster, fra diavolo. I mean, all that. Just
Can you say lobster 10 more times, please?
lobster.
Lobster.
I said it right, didn't I?
Lobster.
Lobster from New England, from Boston.
Honestly, the best South Africa has the best lobster, I think, in my opinion. But second, the best I've ever had was from New England.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably my favorite food.
Lobster.
However, I do have this little quirk that I like to put ketchup on a lot of things.
Really?
Yeah. So breakfast, ketchup on the eggs, ketchup on the sausage, ketchup on potatoes. I've put ketchup on steak before. I've put ketchup on. I don't get a hot dog at Fenway Park without anything but ketchup, and that's it. Just ketchup on a hot dog.
Do you like ketchup potato chips?
I do like ketchup potato chips.
Yeah, they're good.
Ketchup. And two things I never thought I would ever put ketchup on. I was in Budapest, Hungary one time, and I went to this place, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to get the pizza at this place. You get pizza." So I go to this pizza place.
They always serve ketchup.
And then people putting ketchup on their pizza.
What is that?
I was like, I love ketchup.
Thailand, they put ketchup on the pizza.
Put ketchup on the pizza, and I'm like, this is sacrilege to the pizza because I loved it. I loved it. And my ex-wife, she taught me another one too, which I never thought I would eat also. But when you're a single guy, okay, Kraft macaroni and cheese goes a long way, especially if you put hot dogs in it or Spam or ramen noodles. You mix all that shit together. Cheap meal, right? Bachelor food. So I used to have a lot of that shit when I was single and bachelor. And my ex-wife likes that stuff. She likes Kraft macaroni and cheese. I mean, who doesn't really? We're all like,
I indulged recently, not gonna lie.
So good, so good. She put ketchup on it. Now she's Canadian. She goes, in Canada we put ketchup on Kraft on KD, is what they call it. I'm like, no. And I love ketchup. I put ketchup on the KD. I got to admit, it was pretty damn good.
Dude.
Pretty damn good.
All
She won't put ketchup on, like I like ketchup on egg noodles too. So we're probably losing your audience. This is disgusting. I throw it up in my own mouth.
I'm like kind of grossed out, but I'm also really interested. No, I'm kidding.
Try it.
Whatever, man. That's Right.
So there you go. My quirky, shitty eating habits.
Love you so much. And my next question, I just wanted to ask you. I wanted to know how you're doing, really, during this time.
I'm actually doing really well. I'm actually doing really, really well. My electronics company, we just positioned ourselves really well. We've invested a lot of time and energy into marketing, and that's been a big shift for us during the virus. Our company is considered essential because we sell equipment to the medical and government space, and so a lot of the factories that we service are still open. Granted, limited, staff, and it's been difficult buying equipment around the world. We bought stuff in Italy, and it's still sitting in Italy. We can't get it out of there, and Japan and China. And it's been a little bit difficult dealing with, world freight, given the virus and just the ability to get in and out of these countries. So that's been a bit of a challenge. But overall, our company was doing really well. And the other piece of it is that this was a good time, and I hope a lot of people took advantage of this, of learning. Not just learning a new skill. If you did, that's great, okay, because you took the time to do it. But also learning more about the people that are close to you. There's two schools of thought, right? Especially when people have their kids coming and staying home all this time during these months. And now, summer's hit, so they're still there. And I've heard just as many of these of, I have to have my kids at home. I have to whatever. I have to do this. I have to do that. And then the other school of thought is, I get to. I get to be with my kids. I get to learn stuff. I get to spend time alone. I get to take this time off. I get to, and it's the same situation, right? It's the same experience for both people, but the meaning they attach to it is 180 degrees out of phase with each other, right? So during this pandemic, if you get to learn something, if you get to maybe connect closer with your spouse, you get to connect closer with your kids, even though you're physically apart, now you learn how to communicate with them. Or you get to communicate more with your customers or your employees. I think it's a magical time. And, I certainly took advantage of that. And we spent a lot of time in the pandemic beefing up our marketing at all of the businesses. I'm beefing up my marketing and my coaching stuff and learning more. And, I've been to whatever Zoom calls that you can get and, hang out with friends that way. But yeah, I've been doing really, really well, and mainly because we take advantage of the situation and how can we make it better. I guess that's part of Orange Energy too. Is how can we make it better? How can we do something and have
I
fun
just
on
want
it?
to say it's working. Like, I love your quotes and stuff. Where do you get your material from?
My quotes.
Super inspiring stuff. Yeah.
Some of it's mine. I mean, a lot of it's been listening to motivational speakers over the last 27 years. Well, sometimes I just get on the internet and I just go, what's a cool phrase about A, B, or C? I'll get 5 or 6 of them and like, okay, let's cut them out and post them up and put them in a little Canva and,
And I
keep things
loved
going.
your post yesterday with the picture of you and on Memorial Day. I thought that was really awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I think Memorial Day, it's definitely a time to thank our vets and definitely a time to be thankful and grateful that we live in this country and for all that have died in that process to make us free. It's certainly a great day to not that every day shouldn't be a day, you respect and give gratitude towards those who have served. And, but especially yesterday, I want to make it a point to make sure that we all remember the beautiful things that we have here, especially living in this country. We're very, very, very blessed and very, very gifted. And so, it's not something you want to take for granted.
Beautiful. And Frank, I just wanted to ask if there's anything else on your heart that you want to share with everybody. And I just want to thank you again for being on. So happy to see you.
What's in my heart? Well, my heart right now is just being grateful that you invite me on your show. I really, really, really appreciate that. I mean, your show is about gratitude and resilience. And, gratitude is one of those things that needs to be a daily habit. It really does, much like anything else. Like if you exercise your body, it's time to exercise your mind and your heart. And it's really difficult to be in a tough space or negative or depressed or fearful when you're in a mode of gratitude. Mm-hmm. So it is the greatest vitamin pill on the planet that's underused. When we feel depressed, what do? We go in the refrigerator and eat our way out of depression, right? Or we slunk something down, or we, talk shitty to ourselves or whatever. But, it's hard to do all those things when you're in a state of gratitude. And there's all kinds of things we can be grateful for. All kinds of things we can be grateful for. And so, I make it a point of starting my day with gratitude. And the last things I do before I go to sleep, I literally say a little private prayer. God, thank you for today. These are the things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the ability that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my kids, my grandson. I'm grateful for my great friends like the perfect baby.
So cute.
So, and gratitude is a component of being resilient as well. In order for you to get through a shitty time, you first have to have a gut check as to where you're really at. Okay, I've lost or I've gained 50 pounds. Get real with what's going on. I've lost $1 million. I screwed up and fucked up my marriage and I lost my spouse, or, whatever it is that's real for you, whether you created it, and I believe we all participate in our own creations of where we're at. Okay. Where you're at, get a good gut check and a good starting point and say, here's where I'm at. Okay. And what am I grateful for? And what am I going to do to get out of this spot? Because, with everything in our life, there are two parts. There's the experience of what happens to you, and then there's a meaning you attach to it. So we all have experiences, and some of them are great and some of them are shitty. And whatever meaning you want to attach to that experience, you will drag through for the rest of your life. If you get dumped by somebody, you break up, well, all women are horrible, all guys are horrible, all relationships suck, being married sucks. All these meanings you could throw on things, right? They really don't serve you. If anything, they guide you in a direction for more suckdom. I'm going to put more shitty meetings in life. Then guess what? My whole path and the rest of my destiny is going to be faced right in that same direction of shitty life and shitty things and shitty meetings, right?
I just heard this in my guided meditation last night before I went to bed. The same words you're saying. It's crazy.
Really? So yeah. Good timing. But it's really about the meaning you put to things. And, the meaning can be a lesson. Okay, I learned this and it was horrific and it's tough. And okay, I got to, bite the bullet now and move on. But again, with that attitude of gratitude and being resilient, it helps make the next chapters that much more beautiful and manifesting and wonderful. And, we're here for a short time and a good time, not a long time. So,
Absolutely.
Make it the best you can. Right?
I love you, Frankie. Thank you so much for coming on. And I see a bunch of our family on here with us.
All right.
Wait till we're all together again.
Absolutely. Jen, thanks very much for letting me be on your show today. And anything I can do to help you, let me know.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Ciao for now, guys. Love you.
So, bye.